Imperial China spent over 2,000 years inventing ways to make the human body suffer. Not just kill, suffer. They skinned people alive. They sawed prisoners in half with heated metal. They cooked men inside giant iron pots. And in the worst cases, they wiped out your entire family, all 873 of them, down to distant cousins and childhood teachers. These are the 20 most horrific devices ever used, and every single one was real. Let's start with number 20, the face tattoo. This sounds mild until you understand what it means in Chinese culture. A blade was used to carve into the skin of your forehead or cheeks. Then, permanent ink was forced into the cut. When it healed, the scar became a black mark that everyone could see for the rest of your life. The Song and Yuan dynasties had a code for this. If your crime called for exile, you got a square carved behind your ear. If you were sentenced to a flogging, the shape was round. And cheating couples caught more than once got the words, "committed licentious acts 2 times," branded across their faces before being thrown out of their city. In Confucian culture, damaging the body was a direct insult to your parents and ancestors. A facial tattoo destroys your honor, your family name, and your chances in the afterlife. All from a single cut and a handful of ink. And this was supposed to be the lightest punishment in the system. Here comes number 19, the Kang. Think of a massive square wooden board with a hole in the center, locked around your neck. Some weighed 20 pounds, others went past 200 pounds. The Great Ming Legal Code of 1397 set official weights between 15 and 33 pounds, depending on the crime. Once it was locked on, you could not see your own feet. You could not reach your mouth to eat. You could not lie down. The sharp inner rim slowly sliced into your neck and shoulders, and the wounds got deeper every day. Your name and crime were written across the board for the whole town to read. Some prisoners starved to death wearing this thing because nobody would feed them. In Mongolia, corn merchants caught price gouging were locked in kangs, and the angry public deliberately let them starve in the streets as revenge. The kang stayed in use from ancient times all the way into the early 1900s. Let's move to number 18, the ankle crusher. The jiagun was the device prisoners feared most. 2 or 3 thick wooden planks, each about a yard long, clamped around your ankles. Ropes or wedges tightened them slowly, compressing the bone with each turn. George Henry Mason described this in his 1801 book. Wedges were hammered between the planks, forcing them to squeeze inward. If the prisoner survived the full process, their bones were completely destroyed. The Ming Dynasty's secret police, the embroidered uniform guard, used this as their go-to weapon and ignored the Qing law that said you could only crush a prisoner's ankles twice. They did it as many times as they wanted. And this is where things start getting worse. Here comes number 17, the brain press. A band made from cow leather, string, and bamboo wrapped tightly around the prisoner's skull. Officers pulled the string to gradually squeeze the head tighter and tighter. The pressure caused blinding headaches, blurred vision, and blackouts. Both the Ming and Qing dynasties officially banned this device, but officials kept using it behind closed doors because it left 0 visible injuries. A prisoner could walk back to their cell looking completely normal, while their brain was swelling from compression. Prisoners who saw the brain press being prepared often confessed on the spot before anyone touched them. The fear alone did half the work. Let's talk about number 16, bamboo nail torture. Sharpened bamboo sticks hammered under the fingernails, 1 finger at a time. Each finger a separate round of agony. During the Han Dynasty, official Shui An ordered iron needles driven under a warehouse clerk's nails. Then he forced the clerk to scrape packed dirt from the ground with his bare hands. The metal grinding against earth created a level of pain nobody could resist. In the early Tang Dynasty, The notorious official Wang Shu sharpened bamboo sticks to razor points and drove them deep under nails one by one. Sessions lasted hours. Here comes number 15. The roasting iron. A flat slab of iron heated over open flames until it turned bright red, then pressed directly onto bare skin. Guards targeted the most sensitive areas to get the fastest confession. The Liao Empire combined this with whipping in a practice called whip roasting. First, they lashed the prisoner until the skin split open. Then they pressed the glowing iron directly into fresh wounds. Searing heat meeting raw, exposed flesh. The combination broke even the toughest prisoners in seconds. This tool was never officially approved by any legal code, but the Ming Dynasty's secret police used it whenever they wanted. Let's move to number 14. The wooden donkey. This device first appeared between the Song and Yuan dynasties. It was a wooden frame shaped like a donkey, with 4 legs on wheels and a sharp wooden spike sticking straight up from the back. The prisoner was stripped, tied on top, and the spike was driven into the body. As guards pushed the wooden donkey through the streets, the spike moved deeper. The prisoner was paraded through the entire city while crowds watched. This punishment was used almost exclusively on women. The novel Water Margin from the 1300s describes one character being nailed to a wooden donkey with 4 long nails and 3 binding ropes before being wheeled through the streets of Dongping to public execution. Next one is number 13. Water torture. The prisoner was strapped down so tightly they could not move a single muscle. Water dripped onto the forehead, 1 drop at a time, steady and endless for days. At first, it was just annoying. After a few hours, the constant rhythm destroyed the ability to think. After a full day, sleep deprivation kicked in. After 2 days, the mind cracked apart. Prisoners started hallucinating, screaming, and confessing to anything just to make the dripping stop. And some versions were far worse. Guards occasionally replaced the drops with acid. The prisoner never knew which drop would be harmless and which would burn straight through skin into bone. That uncertainty turned a simple drip into total psychological destruction. Some accounts describe another version, where the prisoner's head was pushed under water and pulled back out over and over, creating the feeling of drowning without actually letting death arrive. No equipment needed, just time. And Imperial China had centuries of it. Here comes number 12. Castration. Known as palace punishment, this was one of the most feared sentences in all of Imperial China. A rope was tied tight around the genitals to kill blood flow. A blade removed everything. Ash was packed in to stop the bleeding. A goose feather kept the passage open. Many died from infection or shock within days. Over 100,000 men were castrated during the Ming Dynasty alone to serve as eunuchs. The historian Sima Qian chose this over death so he could finish his masterwork, The Records of the Grand Historian. He survived and completed the book, but he later wrote that his shame was so deep that not a single day passed without his insides turning 9 times over. If you are finding this disturbing, hit subscribe. We cover dark history like this every week. And trust me, what comes next is on a completely different level. Let's move to number 11. Boiling alive. They called this inviting the Lord into the cauldron. It started during the Tang Dynasty under Empress Wu Zetian, the only woman to officially rule China as emperor. Her notorious official, Lai Junchen, built his entire reputation on extreme punishment. The prisoner was placed inside a giant iron cauldron filled with water or oil. Firewood was lit underneath. As the liquid heated up degree by degree, the prisoner screamed, begged, and thrashed. If they refused to confess, they were literally cooked alive. Lai Junchen used this so often it became his personal trademark. When he was finally arrested himself, the court gave him the exact same death he had given hundreds of others. The phrase, inviting the Lord into the cauldron, became a popular Chinese saying meaning to be caught in your own trap. Next one is number 10, nose amputation. They called it yi, and it was so common the Chinese language created a special character just for it. One of the original 5 punishments going back 4,000 years. According to the rights of Zhou, over 500 different crimes could get your nose cut off. A blade sliced it clean off without pain relief. The wound was sealed with heat. The goal was to mark you for life. A person without a nose was considered spiritually ruined in Confucian belief. Emperor Wen of Han reformed these punishments around 167 BC after a young woman named Chunyu Tiying begged the emperor to spare her father. She offered to become a court slave for life. The emperor was so moved, he changed the law. But unofficial nose cutting continued for centuries. Let's move to number 9, the neck tower. This was an execution disguised as furniture. A prisoner stood inside a tall wooden cage with their head poking through the top, hands and feet shackled inside. Under their feet, a neat stack of stones. Every day, a guard pulled out 1 or 2 stones. Body weight slowly transferred to the throat. Breathing got harder. Swallowing became impossible. The prisoner stayed fully awake, strangling inch by inch under their own weight while crowds watched. 1 stone at a time. The process took days, sometimes weeks. During the Boxer Rebellion around 1900, guards combined this with the Kang to create the death cage. They attached a 200-pound wooden collar to the top of the cage and slowly removed supports underneath. Photographs from that era show prisoners hanging in public intersections, faces purple, dying over the course of several days. Here comes number 8, the iron brush. This punishment was invented by Zhu Yuanzhang, the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty. The prisoner was stripped naked and tied to an iron bed. Boiling water was poured over their body multiple times, scalding the skin until it blistered and loosened. Then came the iron brush. A heavy tool with metal bristles was dragged across the body, scraping away flesh layer by layer until bone was exposed. The process was compared to the way butchers remove hair from a pig after boiling it. Victims often died before the procedure was complete, but the method was designed to keep them alive as long as possible. In terms of sheer physical destruction, the iron brush was considered as brutal as Ling Chi itself. Next one is number 7, sawing in half. An iron saw, sometimes heated until it glowed red, was used to cut a prisoner's body in 2. The prisoner was typically hung upside down first. Hanging upside down kept blood flowing to the head, which meant the victim stayed conscious much longer during the cutting. The executioners worked slowly on purpose, dragging the process out for as long as the body could hold together. During the Three Kingdoms period around 250 AD, Wu Emperor Sun Hao ordered the official Chen Sheng to be sawed alive with a red-hot saw. Chen's only crime was doing his job. He had arrested some thieves who happened to work for the emperor's favorite concubine. The concubine complained. The emperor exploded. Chen was sawed open at the market, and his body was thrown from the platform for the public to see. This was not about justice. This was about power, and the saw made that message impossible to ignore. Let's talk about number 6, skinning alive. Originally performed after death, this punishment eventually evolved into flaying people while they were still breathing. The executioner used a sharp knife to carefully separate the skin from the flesh, starting at the face and working down the body. Attempts were often made to keep the skin in one complete piece so it could be displayed afterward. The Hongwu Emperor of the Ming dynasty was especially fond of this method. In 1396, he ordered the flaying of 5,000 women in a single purge. The removed skins were either stuffed with straw and displayed in public, or nailed